more girls die of suicide. And in schools, I found that breakups are the most important reason. Low marks, problems in parents. But we in our workshops, we talk about two things: never die for a guy. The way we dealt with COVID-19, that is the commitment, passion, and energy required across the country. I still remember this boy. He had chronic mental illness. He was better. One day, without reason, he came to my clinic with an ice cream and he said like this. He jumped down on the same day. Breakups also are equally natural. If you fall in love, be prepared that something is going to happen, because love can have birth, growth and death. If somebody says, I want to run away from home, there's a sign that he or she wants to die.
Hello friends, you are watching Free Press Journal. I am Nirmati Patoe. On 10th September, every year, World Suicide Prevention Day is observed in order to create awareness, to foster compassion and to strategize on how to prevent suicides. Do you know that every year more than 7 lakh people die by suicides? And behind these numbers are the stories of resilience, struggle, dispute, and even most importantly, silence. So, to understand how India and how we can help in preventing the suicides and how India can better deal with it, we have with us Dr. Harish Shetty, a well-known psychiatrist who has more than 35 years of experience in mental health. Sir, first of all, welcome to Free Press Journal.
Namaskar.
Sir, as I told, more than 7 lakh people die by suicides every year. It's the most concerning part. So how do you think India should deal with it, and what more data can you share with us?
The way we dealt with COVID-19, that is the commitment, passion and energy required across the country. Every village should be screened for mental health. Every mohalla should be screened for mental health. Every household complex and street should be screened for mental health. When I'm saying screening for mental health, that will help you to understand if somebody is on the edge and if somebody wants to really give up. COVID, we went house to house. Mental health, we need to go house to house. And it's so possible. Across the country, we have health workers who go house to house to identify malaria, dengue, and other infectious disease. They can be easily trained to help screening of mental health issues, where suicide will be one of the most important causes. There is no will, because health is a state subject. And every state needs to take this abundantly. Every 9 minutes, one young boy or girl dies of suicide. Every 35 minutes, one student. And between the ages of 15 to 29, suicide is the biggest killer. It can be in your house. It can be in anybody's house. So it's important that you screen it. When there's a problem, we have a campaign. But when there's an epidemic of suicide, we need a movement. So the most important thing is screening, and it can be done in Ganpati mandals, in festival mandals, in school open houses where they can screen the children as well as the adults, in offices of newspapers, in corporate offices, and at all workplaces. We should be screening periodically people for mental health. Many would have mental illness in the family. Many would have poverty, difficulty in relationships, etc. Let them put it on the table and be inclusive. Don't throw them out. In colleges, periodically mental health screening has to be done, and this has to be done in a fun manner, where there are balloons and festoons, and it's a fest, and where the director, the dean and the faculties go first with the families to screen themselves. Stigma will break, shame will break, and that's how it should be done. Don't overestimate the resilience of the young, middle-aged or the old.
So what do you think are the causes of the suicides? Because financial distress, relationship setbacks, these are the main issues that people are suffering from. What do you think about the main causes of the suicide?
Well, rapid changing world, social distress, globalization, And India is in the middle of a chronic disaster syndrome. Something is happening all the time.
Right.
Resilience and ability to recover from a trauma is very poor. When I was in school, we never thought about suicide, even if we had a breakup or if we had failed in the exams. The frustration tolerance is very small. Children are really reared in small nuclear families. They have never heard a no. There is a lot of financial distress in the country. Look at Bombay. It's difficult to enter a BST bus. It's difficult to enter a train. Let the politicians and the bureaucrats catch a train from Andheri to Churchgate. Let the politician and the bureaucrats actually leave the limousines and walk the roads of Bombay. Visit the families and see what is happening. Then they will understand the importance of suicide prevention. But there has to be a central push. States cannot be relied alone to do this. Every family, when they talk about health, they should ask about how do you feel. In a college, when a kid comes, don't ask him about marks, don't ask him about the portion or the curriculum. Ask them, how do you feel? Happy children at home or in a college will talk about it. In colleges, teachers should talk about feelings, their own feelings, their life stories, not glories, but stories. And if they talk about health, children will talk about ill health, and you will be able to pick up children very early, and that will help us to save lives. So, across board, let's talk about life, not only about work and curriculum. And in corporate offices, there's a lot of violence. Just EAP will not work. Have a counseling center, have a mental health policy. Mental health policy should be a part of every institution, every society, every household, every mohalla, and so that the awareness increases. And in the narrative of life, we talk about health, ill health, and preventing suicide.
So you are talking about advocating policies on mental health.
Also.
Yeah. So you have also suggested that there should be a mental health department or a mental health minister of the government. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, we have a TB officer in every taluka, and we have promised the World Health Organization that we will be a TB-free country. Why is there no due commitment, action, and activity for mental health? If you can eradicate TB and if you can promise to eradicate TB from the country, we need to say that we will have a zero suicide policy in our country. So the point is, awareness is not there. In the parliament, there should be a session for awareness on mental health. In all legislature assemblies, there should be a session of awareness on mental health. And mental health should be a talking point. People should not be ashamed and come and say that somebody has died of suicide in my family. I did not know why. Somebody is suicidal in my family and I don't know why. Suicides are preventable, but all suicides may not be preventable. And if there's a suicide, do a psychological autopsy. Don't play political football with somebody who has died of suicide. If there's a suicide, just like a heart attack patients will undergo an autopsy, a boy or a girl or a young man or an adult or an elderly, if he ends his life, let the politicians not interfere. Let the faculties of IITs don't appoint an inquiry. Do a proper psychological autopsy, which is a scientific process by which we understand what happened, what are the processes. That will help us to find preventive measures for the future. In IITs and everywhere, appointing parliamentary committees don't work. Psychological autopsy should be a rule for every suicide. It's important that we use science and not politics to understand a person who has died of suicide.
Why is the suicide rate increasing among the females? Because if we talk about India, then it is ranked among third for the global female suicides. So what do you think are the factors behind it?
Well, in India, men die more than women. But under the age of 18, if you look at NCRB figures, more girls die of suicide. And in schools, I found that breakups are the most important reason. Low marks, problems in parents. But we in our workshops, we talk about two things. Never die for a guy. We also talk about celebrating breakups. We also talk about understanding that separation always happens in life, either with your family, with your spouse, or in a job. And we teach children how to accept breakups.
So, are you telling breakups are the reason for suicides in some cases?
Yes, but what I'm telling is falling in love is natural. Breakups also are equally natural. If you fall in love, be prepared that something is going to happen, because love can have birth, growth, and death. It's not essential that you last throughout your lifetime, but if somebody leaves you, that would not mean that you are bad. If somebody leaves you, that would not mean that you are low. It means at some point of time love died. Some point of time compatibility vanished. So staying alive is important. And that famous Bee Gees song, staying alive is very important. So what is important is you'll fail in exams, you'll not succeed in every exams. You'll get low marks. Your friends will leave you. Your boyfriend, girlfriend will leave you. You lose your job. You may have a divorce. But come what may, stay alive. That is the message we need to really spread. And we need to build skills among parents, teachers, HR managers, corporates, and the common man on the road. What they should do if somebody says, I want to die. If somebody says, I want to die, don't give him a lecture. Don't take him to a temple or a church or a mosque. Take him to the nearest mental health professional immediately and urgently. When you have a heart attack, you don't go to the mosque, temple, or the church. When somebody says, I want to die, let him be screened by a mental health professional. Don't give him gyan. Don't take him to the elderly in the village. Immediately find out if it's an issue, concern, stress, distress, or disease. Fight depression. Screen depression and identify it early, so that they are treated and suicides are prevented. And remember, if somebody dies of suicide, be very compassionate to the family, be very kind to the family, and see that the family also seeks help so that they can recover and they can move ahead. So
what are the legal provisions to control the suicide rates? In law, is there any law that has been enacted?
yes, earlier suicide was criminalized. 309 was repealed, IPC 309. It's known by a different name. And the Mental Health Care Act has decriminalized suicide. So the cop should not be suspicious when somebody has attempted suicide. Don't ask 100 questions. See that they take help, and that is very important. And if a student has attempted suicide and is in the hospital, don't go and find out why. Principal should not send their spies to find out why. Principal should go and should send their teachers and say, we miss you, come back to us as fast as you can, but take treatment and then come back. And once they take treatment, see that the psychiatrist or the psychologist is in touch with the school teachers and the school counselors. Let the school counselors be told, or the teachers told, what concessions you might give to the child or the student.
Can you share your personal experience with a patient where he had suicidal thoughts, and how did you overcome that? Yeah.
I would say that all psychiatrists will admit that sometimes we lose our patients because the illness overwhelms the person. But there's one journalist from a very famous newspaper who is now a clinical hypnotherapist. And she says, Dr. Shetty, when you called me every 10 minutes that night, that helped me to prevent suicide. But that is not enough. Treatment is necessary. And if you read the book Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, there was a lady who called Viktor Frankl that she wants to die, and she survived. Viktor Frankl was very curious to find out what worked. And when Viktor Frankl asked the lady, what is it that I told you that worked? And she said, nothing. You just heard me for a long time. So it's so important to see to it. But we have taken children, adults in an emergency to hospitals so that it is a safe place, so that they could be evaluated and so that they can be treated and saved. So do not believe only in the power of listening. Find out if there's a diagnosis and if there's any treatment that has to be given, kindness, love will not work. I have another anecdote. There was a student in a college where I was teaching. He gave away shirts. He gave his laptop to somebody. Everybody said he has become kind. He's become very caring. Then one professor took him under her wings and said, I'll give love, compassion. I'll feed him. That did not work. That boy ended his life. So when somebody gives away things, wants to do a will immediately, says bye-bye without reason, that's a sign that he or she might end his life. If somebody says, I want to run away from home, there's a sign that he or she wants to die. When somebody absconds on the day of the result and does not look on the internet whether he has passed or failed, that means he or she actually wants to die. If somebody, I still remember this boy, he had chronic mental illness. He was better. One day, without reason, he came to my clinic with an ice cream and he said like this. He jumped down on the same day. And so it's important. Tata, bye-bye, which is very unusual. Making a will, which is very unusual. I want to run away. I don't want to stay in this house. Are suicide telltale signs where you need to be alert. If you are in doubt whether the person is stressed or not, err on the side that the person is stressed or he might end his life so that he's screened. If you have a pain in the chest, you don't say it is bronze. You don't say it is gas. You first check up the heart whether it is good or bad and then you exclude it. So err on the side of ill health so that you can save many lives and screen them at the earliest.